Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Diamonds are forever. On the anniversary of her passing, a loving tribute to young and restless Jean Cooper plus photos from her entire run as Catherine. In her final Soaps.com interview, conducted a little less than a year before her death on May 8, 2013, Jean Cooper offered up a simple reminder that few and far between are the actors who understand the genre as well as she did. In daytime, she said, "You have to grow in somebody's heart." Certainly, that was what she had done over the course of her epic 40-year run as Catherine Chancellor, the jewel-encrusted doyenne of the young and the restless. The actress reeled us in with the fire in her eyes and the fury in her voice. She made us gasp by delivering lines so pointedly, they practically lanced our TVs. And she stunned us over and over again by revealing the vulnerability that lay beneath the bling and the bluster. She was, in short, brilliant, up to and including her final performance on the CBS soundstage. If for viewers it was difficult to accept that they had lost Cooper, who succumbed to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, at age 84, for her young and restless colleagues, it was almost impossible. Heck, it still is. "I miss her every day," Caitlinder Esther told Soaps.com in 2021. "I half expect to see her coming down the hall or walking onto the set, and when I remember, well, it hits me all over again." But rather than dwell on what we've all lost, even on this somber occasion, let's instead be grateful for what we had. Decades of Cooper dazzling us like a jewelry box thrown open. To help jog your memory, click on the below photo gallery, a collection of highlights from the soap icon's unparalleled run as Catherine. In the grand tapestry of the young and the restless, few threads shimmer with the timeless brilliance of Jean Cooper's Catherine Chancellor. From her first entrance in 1973 to her emotional final bows in 2013, Cooper carved a legacy not just in soap history, but in the hearts of millions. Now, as we mark the anniversary of her passing, we remember not only the actress, but the indelible spirit of a woman whose diamond-sharp wit, searing strength, and unfailing grace made her the crown jewel of Genoa City. This tribute is for the fans who grew up with her, who wept when she wept, who laughed when she threw her signature brand of shade, who saw in her the kind of character and woman that doesn't just entertain but inspires. Let's raise our metaphorical champagne flutes and revisit the life, the legacy, and the fierce elegance of Jean Cooper, a true original. A grand entrance for the Grand Dame. Jean Cooper joined the young and the restless in 1973 as Catherine Chancellor, a woman of means, mystery, and emotional depth. From her very first scenes, it was clear this was no background player. Catherine didn't enter a room, she owned it. Whether swirling a crystal glass of bourbon or launching into a brutal truth-telling session with a frenemy, she had gravity. Cooper's casting came during a transformative time in daytime drama. And while soap operas had no shortage of powerful women, Catherine wasn't merely powerful, she was unpredictable. One day regal, the next unhinged. One day matriarchal, the next magnificently messy. She was a paradox, and that made her irresistible. The real-life icon behind the role. Off-screen, Jean Cooper was as fearless as her alter ego. Born October 25, 1928, in Taft, California, Cooper began her acting career in the 1950s. With early appearances in westerns and primetime dramas, she carved out a steady career long before daytime came calling. But it was Y&R that would cement her as a television legend. Known for her candor, her sense of humor, and her refusal to play the Hollywood game, Cooper championed longevity, authenticity, and reinvention. She famously allowed the show to film her real-life facelift in 1984, making Catherine's transformation part of the story, a bold move that turned soap opera into cinema verite. "I figured why not," she said at the time. "This is what aging is. Let's show it." Trailblazer, Thy Name is Jean. Catherine Chancellor. A Life of Love, Loss, and Legendary Shade. Where do we even begin with Catherine's storylines? The battle with Jill. Let's start with the feud of all feuds. Catherine versus Jill. Friends turned enemies turned frenemies turned occasionally cordial co-grandmothers. Their war spanned decades and gave fans everything: catfights, slaps, gasps, lawsuits, affairs, and endless innuendo. The feud began when Jill had an affair with Catherine's husband, Philip Chancellor II. And it only spiraled from there into a bitter inheritance battle, surprise familial revelations, are they mother and daughter, and an accidental house burning. It was camp. It was dramatic. It was Shakespearean in stilettos. And it gave us some of the most gif-worthy moments in soap history. The heartache. Catherine's life wasn't all battles and bravado. She weathered profound losses: the death of Philip, the presumed death and resurrection of her son Brock, struggles with alcoholism, and a devastating stroke. But through it all, she persevered. Jean Cooper infused every beat with raw humanity. She could pivot from icy sarcasm to heartbreaking vulnerability in a single breath. When Catherine held Nikki's hand and whispered, "Life is about what you fight for," it wasn't a line. It was gospel. The friendships. Catherine and Nikki. Catherine and Victor. Catherine and Murphy. These weren't just supporting characters. They were her soulmates. With Nikki, she was both mentor and co-conspirator. With Victor, she was one of the few who could call him out and live to sip tea about it. And with Murphy, sweet, unassuming Murphy, she found late-in-life love that felt utterly earned. These relationships revealed her softer sides, the tenderness behind the tiara. Jean's final scenes. A poignant goodbye. When Jean Cooper passed away on May 8, 2013, at the age of 84, the loss was staggering, not just to fans but to her wife and our family. The show honored her with a series of emotional tributes and a storyline that echoed the real grief of those left behind. In her final scenes, Catherine exuded the same fire and clarity that had defined her entire run. She gave advice. She offered wisdom. She made amends. It was a farewell fit for royalty. Her character's memorial episode, which featured real-life cast members speaking directly to Cooper's legacy, blurred the line between fiction and reality. It was not just a goodbye to Catherine Chancellor. It was a goodbye to Jean Cooper, mother of Corbin Burnson, matriarch of daytime, and a woman whose shadow still looms large over Genoa City. The legacy lives on. Though Catherine is gone, her presence remains palpable on the young and the restless. Her portrait looms over Chancellor Park. Her wisdom is evoked in nearly every scene involving Devon, Jill, Nina, and Chance. She is the moral compass, the whisper on the wind, the name spoken in reverence. And when the characters raise a glass of bourbon or deliver a particularly stinging zinger, you know who taught them. The women who walked in her footsteps. Jean Cooper opened doors for women on daytime, for aging actresses, and for complex matriarchs. Thanks to her, we've seen more stories about female power at every age. Her spirit echoes in Victor's ruthless resolve, in Nikki's rise from stripper to society queen, in Sharon's turbulent growth, and in Phyllis's unrepentant sass. There is a little Catherine Chancellor in every woman who's ever laid claim to the Chancellor Mansion, and every viewer who watched her and thought, "That's the kind of woman I want to be." Behind the scenes, the woman, the mentor, the mother. Cast members have spoken often and lovingly about Jean's warmth, wicked sense of humor, and fierce loyalty. Eric Braeden called her an original and a trailblazer who could silence a room with just a look. Melody Thomas Scott often described their on-screen relationship as one of the most fulfilling in her career. And Christian LeBlanc once noted how Jean would light up the studio even before the cameras rolled. To her son, actor Corbin Burnson, she was simply Mom. though a mom who could outnegotiate any network executive and still make you laugh while doing it. Diamonds are forever. Why she still shines. Why does Katherine Chancellor still resonate? Because she wasn't perfect, and she never pretended to be. She was proud and flawed, compassionate and cutting. She was what we all hope to be when life tests us. Resilient, regal, real. And Jean Cooper? She embodied it all. In an industry that often prizes youth and novelty, Cooper reminded us that greatness deepens with time. That age isn't a liability, it's an asset. And that legacy isn't just what you leave behind. It's what you teach others to carry forward. From the archives, a visual journey through Jean Cooper's time on YNR. Insert photo collage or gallery with captions such as 1973. Katherine Chancellor arrives, instantly asserting herself as a force of nature. 1984. The facelift storyline breaks new ground in daytime realism. 1990s. Iconic showdowns with Jill light up our screens, and soap history. 2000s. Katherine's mentorship of Nikki deepens into a bond of unshakable trust. 2013. Her final scenes, poignant, elegant, unforgettable. Each photo, each scene, is a diamond, multifaceted, brilliant, enduring. Closing words. This is not goodbye. Jean Cooper's passing left a void. But it also left a legacy. Every time Katherine Chancellor is mentioned, remembered, or quoted, it reminds us, diamonds don't die. They dazzle forever. To the fans who still pause during Chancellor family scenes, hoping to glimpse that silver mane or hear that famous velvet sandpaper voice, you're not alone. We feel her, too. And we always will.